Toastmasters, first time Toastmaster, at our club here, our very own Jonathan.
Guys, I'm so thrilled to be here tonight. Finally, I did this 3 years ago, and first time in Hollywood, Florida. I did it for a little while, and I did it in Bradenton. I didn't like Bradenton. Now I come here. I never thought I'd be doing this for the night. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so happy to be here. I feel like Toastmasters for me for like past 6 months has been like a lot of growth, as I say the word. And the theme of the day, I'm very thrilled that I can come here and fail a bunch, because I've failed and I failed and I failed and I'm getting better. And tonight is like a pinnacle of there's not going to be no failure. I think it'll be great. But even if I did a little bit and I might mess up a little bit, I'll keep going. I'm really happy to be here. This is a packed house. I've never seen so many people in one room. There's no more chairs left. I mean, there's one chair left. If I was in, wow, this is great. And 5 guests tonight. I think that's a record, Mark. How many guests you've seen in one night before? It's very wonderful.
I think it's a record.
It is a record. Yay, go team! I'm very happy to see so many guests. It's 2 times as many guests. So I would like to also say that I'm very happy to present this topic on growth. Growth for me, been lots of spurts. I've went through starting a business by myself 2008 to this day. Lots of growth, scaling, failing, growing, scaling, failing. And I really thought last week, Kathy gave me some feedback. Thank you, Kathy, which has actually inspired the theme of the night, because it was just so carefully worded. I'm like, that's great, I love it. So growth it is. So as I talk about growth, it's always ongoing, you know. It never happens in one moment, even though people want to grow very quickly. Time just needs to happen. And if we don't have time, then we can't have growth. It's an ongoing process. It's shaped by our choices every day. I'm going to talk about 6 different kinds of growth. And that's going to be something that everybody aspires to. Everybody loves growth. If anybody doesn't love growth here, somebody raise their hand. Tell me they don't like growth. So I'm pretty sure everybody loves that. Secondly, it's very uncomfortable for people. Growth is uncomfortable. And if it's uncomfortable, that's good. Guys, come on. We have to know that growth is uncomfortable. Because if it's easy and comfortable, you're not growing. You have to push against the grain. You have to jump off that ship that, you know, like people say don't do. You need to do it. And it also really just, in a word, shapes who we become. The hard days, the hard ones, the hard times, everything is very important, and it's about identity we build. So, without further ado, I'd like to first introduce our first. Well, Kathy is our inspiration speaker for this evening, and I'd like to introduce her.
So how many people know that there is a female robot? Anybody know about this female robot who is a citizen of Saudi Arabia?
No.
Oh, okay. So there is a female humanoid robot. Her name is Sophia, and she was given citizenship in Saudi Arabia. And the reason I'm telling you about this is because I attended a seminar, workshop kind of a thing with some coaches, and they shared a little bit about an interview that Tony Robbins did with Sophia.
Yeah.
You know that? You
Yeah,
saw
I
that?
was
You
gonna
saw it?
mention that.
Yeah, you saw that? And so in that interview, Tony Robbins asked her, do you think robots will ever have feelings like human beings? And what she said was, she said, human beings and robots are more alike than you think. From her observation, it seems that most of what we do, how we respond, is all out of automatic habit, you know, and it's all shaped by our experiences, the things that we've done in life, and it's all in our subconscious mind. And so when I looked up how much of your actual day-to-day actions are conscious, Anybody want to guess how much?
10%.
Yeah.
5%. They say 5% is conscious, 95% is unconscious. So your unconscious mind is driving everything that you're doing. And so I'm started coaching because I want to be living more in my conscious mind and figure out how I can break free of some of the habits that have shaped me throughout my life. And so I just want to share, because I know we've got a lot of readers in this class, and there's a book. It's called the 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. And so I just started reading that book, and it's a really powerful book. But just starting to think about when you do things and when you react to things and the way you make decisions, start asking yourself, what is that based on? And is it the right decision? Is it the right way to think? And maybe there is some reason that you're thinking in that direction, and maybe there's something that you need to change. If you want to know a little bit more about your personal habits, there's an app called Habit Finder, and it's habitfinder.com, and you can take the assessment, and it'll give you an idea of what your tendencies lean towards. And with that, I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster, John.
Well, thanks, Kathy. That's quite thrilling. I didn't even know that only 5% of our brain is conscious and 95% is unconscious. That's crazy. So I'm really happy to talk about my next topic in growth is professional growth. Professional growth, all of us, need to make money. So regardless if we're scaling, climbing that ladder, or we're making our first $1 million because whatever we're doing on the internet, we're always have to show up with purpose. Whatever we're doing, it doesn't matter. Everybody is the same. Everybody is human. Everybody has to show up with purpose. And it's really difficult to do it sometimes because everybody's lazy. We're tired. We don't want to do something. We need to do that run. We need to do that coffee, whatever, energy drink, shake, whatever we need to do. The intention behind all this is, how you work and how you schedule your time. If you're a project manager, which I respect all those. Anybody else a project manager? I love project managers. They're so awesome. They save you a lot of time. Save you a lot of time at work. That's for the guys. Being a boss with a project manager, oh God. So wonderful. They also, take on new challenges. As a person, you have to take on new challenges every single day, whether it's your wife or your kids or your boss or whatever it is challenges every day. And without those challenges, you will not become the professional growth person that you want to become. Very important. Learning, education, every day, no matter what it is. Growth, education, love it. And progress, of course. We need time to have progress. We need time to grow. So everybody that's impatient about growth, it is what it is. You have to have time to grow, and you have to be patient with that. And it's small, consistent actions, and it's not big things in one day. So that's growth to me. Slow, and steady wins the race. So next up here is I'd like to introduce our Table Topics Master, because it seems that, as I've been told, people forget about all lonely Table Topics Master because they're so interested in introducing the GE. So without further ado now, let me take up Stephen to the stage here.
Thank you, Jonathan. I won't give anything away, but I think you and I came up with the same idea as far as breaking down growth into categories and going through it one by one. That was pretty good.
Yeah, wonderful.
Exactly. Today's word of the day, maturation, I think is a bit of a misnomer, because no one in this room is ever going to be perfect. As Jonathan kind of alluded to, you're going to get up and fail. Perfection is a moving target that you're never going to hit, but you can come close. And to that end, one of the things we have here is table topics. A fun way for anybody, even our guests, if anyone's so inclined, to get up and answer a question you've never heard before, and come up with something for at least a minute, hopefully about a minute and a half. I look forward to dealing with that, and I turn it back over to Jonathan.
Maturation. Full development is wonderful, especially when we come up to our personal growth, which is our next stage. Think of it as we're going from a baby to a grown adult. We have lots of stages. We're all growing. The maturation and the full development of a personal human being, my favorite piece of growth. I mean, patience, time. It's so hard for people. I've seen maybe 12 people that have a tattoo, just patience. And that's like the best tattoo. I think that's my next tattoo, honestly. There's very few things that really emanate with me. One is being in the Marine Corps. And I put it here, and now maybe patience on the other arm. We'll see. I would like to say that without patience, we will not be mature. We need to be mature. We need to also take on discipline. Discipline and integrity, I remember in the Marine Corps. With a drill instructor on my back, falling down and getting up. Up discipline, down integrity. So discipline, great. Intention is great. Discipline, no excuses. All this is beautiful stuff about growth. I really, as I talk about this more and more, I think this is going to be like a topic that I'm going to go into. Like, I'm going to start streaming about growth. I think this could be a good day. I'm gonna get going. I like to talk about goals and results too, with discipline. I mean, for growth. And if you really want to be disciplined and you really want to grow your goals, just like any project manager, I'm sorry, it comes up again, you chart everything from here and there. Yes? Yes, okay. I would just like to finish up with courage, and then I can introduce the GE for the evening. Is that okay? So I like to talk about courage and comfort and growth that feels unfamiliar and difficult. If you have courage, you can succeed. You will grow. Courage, discipline, and patience. So now what I would like to do is turn it over to our general evaluator for the evening, so he can introduce himself.
So we've got two halves of the meeting tonight. First half is prepared speeches and kind of introducing everything. The second half is going to be all about evaluation. So I will lead that second half. There's going to be a timer, an awe counter, and a grammarian, and I'll wrap us up with the evaluation of tonight's meeting overall. I'm going to bring up what we call the tag team. We'll start with the timer. Oh my God, I'm blanking.
I'm not offended. I'm Timer, as you've heard. I'm excited to be in this role. I've always been pretty good with colors, so I think should be able to do this pretty solid as the first time as a timer. I'll be evaluating the speakers, timing speakers, table topics, and evaluators. I'll be showing green card for the speakers at 5 minutes, yellow card at 6 minutes, red card at 7 minutes. Then for table topics, the same order, 1, 1.5, and 2 minutes, and evaluators 2, 2.5, and 3 minutes. That's all of my roles. I'll pass it over to our eye counter. No, sorry.
Gordon is going to be our eye counter for the evening, and why don't you tell us a little bit about the eye counter?
Good evening, everybody. I will be your eye counter for the evening. Now, the eye counter role is pretty dang simple. I am going to be trying to catch as much of your eyes, your nose, like, and double clutches, whatever I can possibly find. I'm going to nitpick as best as I can. I know I'm going to absolutely miss some because this is I'll be 100% transparent, this is my least favorite role. But with that,
find the funny things that you say and point them out, bring them up in the meeting. Little nuanced words that maybe come up, and hear how you say them, the inflection and the tone of the words you say. If it's funny, or little anecdotes that come out. That's my role, is to kind of find those words that fill the void that sometimes. And I will be listening for the word of the day, which is maturation, to reach full development or maturity. So hope that you use it, find a way to weave it inside of your speeches today. All right, now bring it back to Matt.
We'll get to that after the table topics, but first, we'll hand it back over to our Toastmaster. Oh my gosh. We've got two evaluators. Chris is going to be evaluating Megan, and Joe, Celine. Chris, do you want to come up and talk about that first speech?
So 2 weeks ago, I was the table topics master, and I got skipped in the intros for that. Today, I was going to skip for the evaluation. At some point today, I realized that today was Monday, and there was a Toastmasters tonight, and I had no idea what my role was going to be. So I quickly logged in to see. I was very excited to see that not only was I going to be a speech evaluator, but I was going to be evaluating Megan's speech. And if there's one thing that I've learned, if you want to get better at something, study somebody that's much better at it than you are, and you will learn. So I'm very excited about this. But for Megan's speech, the title of her speech is Little Does She Know. In the description in this personal speech, Megan opens up about the duality of perception versus reality, exploring these moments when the image others see doesn't match the truth of what we're going through behind closed doors. So very, very excited and looking forward to evaluating Megan's speech tonight.
And Joe, you want to tell us a little bit about what you'll be listening for?
Thank you, Thomas. Good evening, everybody. I will be evaluator 2 for Celine. I reached out to Celine ahead of time and got a couple main things that she wants me to look for in her speech. This will be her icebreaker speech, so she's one of the newer members of the club, so it's always exciting seeing someone get up here and give their first speech, which is always a good time. A couple main things that she wants me to look out for are just overall impression of the speech, some of those filler words that we all tend to use and hold a crutch on, just pausing and breathing and really taking the time up here and just making sure she's not rushing her speech. And then also overall connection with the audience and just how she uses that overall. So really excited to see Celine get up here and give her first speech. Thank you.
With that, take 2. I will hand it back over to our Toastmaster.
In the interest of time and me not being patient, I will now introduce our first speaker. So for basically our guest, what we do is we have 2 speakers, sometimes 3 speakers if we're lucky, per night. And what we'll do is first up we'll sit there and we will listen to them, and we'll write little love notes. Does anybody have any notes here? As we'll need to sit there and hand out some pads, because I recently found there was a lot more papers than needed. So just, Marcus, just hand out the love notes so we can give it. And I don't have pens, so I don't know what to do about that. The second, so I hope anybody has pens, you can share and do whatever. And the second thing is that we'll be then evaluating and giving constructive feedback. And after that, we'll vote on the best speaker. We'll vote on the best evaluator and the best table topic speeches. So everybody will have all the notes that they need possible to hand it over to our Sergeant at Arms here, which will take in all the votes. So, without further ado, I like to bring up Megan, our first speaker. In her speech, she opened up about the duality of the perception and reality, which seemed very interesting. And it's not a pathway speech, just a message that Megan wanted to share. So Megan is going to speak right now, and I introduce up our first speaker.
In 2025, mass layoffs have become almost routine. My company has been no exception. We started out the year with around 120 employees and have since dwindled down to less than 90. I survived these cuts, not by chance, I don't think, but because I'm someone who's built a reputation as a high achiever, someone who delivers, someone considered valuable. And yet, what I learned this year is that being seen as valuable doesn't mean you always feel valuable on the inside. Among those let go was a woman named Tiffany. Tiffany sat on the same project management team as me, although we didn't work together directly because we had different clients and accounts. But she had seen me deliver presentations at work, and she had heard about the quality of my work and what it was like collaborating with me through colleagues. After she was let go, Tiffany reached out to me on LinkedIn. She asked if we could set up some time to chat, as she had some questions for me about my career and how I got to where I am today. Now, earlier in my career, I was the one reaching out to people that I admired for these informational type interviews. So to be on the receiving end of this for the very first time felt surreal. When we got on the phone, Tiffany didn't hold back. She had a laundry list of questions prepared for me. She told me how much she admired me as a project manager and how she aspired to be one like me one day. She asked me how I obtained my PMP certification, a notoriously difficult exam, yet highly respected certification in the field. She asked me all about Toastmasters, that it was so interesting that I do public speaking, and was curious how I got involved. To Tiffany, I was a role model. I was someone to learn from, an example to follow. But here's the part she couldn't see. While she was asking me these questions, I was in the middle of an internal battle of my life. You see, I am someone who has chronically struggled with stress, anxiety, overthinking. And in the past, when I didn't know how to identify or manage these emotions, I would seek not so great ways to cope. In my 20s, it was escaping my thoughts every single weekend with alcohol, oftentimes paired with drugs. And when I finally removed those from my life improved in so many ways. But while Tiffany was praising me for being disciplined and driven, the truth was I had replaced one not so great coping mechanism with another. Nicotine, specifically vaping. It started out as something I would casually bring to EDM festivals on and off, and had somehow escalated into something that I was reaching for every single day to combat feelings of boredom, loneliness, anxiety, and had become a full-blown addiction. If you've ever struggled with addiction, you know the cycle. The substance itself gives you anxiety. You're constantly beating yourself up over, why am I doing this? But then when you don't have the substance, your brain and body goes into withdrawal. And that's incredibly anxiety-inducing as well. It becomes a downward spiral of shame and self-hatred that is really hard to escape. So while Tiffany is telling me how inspiring I am, my inner voice was screaming, little does she know I'm a fraud. Little does she know that behind this so-called work ethic, I'm really struggling on the inside. The irony was not lost on me. The things she said were objectively true. I am a great project manager. I do work incredibly hard to achieve my goals. But those truths didn't erase the fact that I was battling demons on the inside that nobody on the outside could see. That conversation with Tiffany shook me because deep down, I wanted to believe her. I wanted to accept her words at face value instead of immediately rejecting them. I wanted to live up to the version of me that she saw, the version that I was having trouble seeing in myself. Her words planted a seed in me. Maybe I'm not a fraud. Maybe I am stronger than I give myself credit for. Maybe even in my darkest moments, I can still inspire others. And that realization made me want to close the gap. To not just appear strong and disciplined on the outside, but to feel that strength inside of me too. I'm very proud to stand here and say that I have not vaped in 3 months.
Yeah.
It is a continuous journey learning to sit with difficult emotions and deal with them in healthier ways. But I'm no longer letting shame define me. Between Tiffany's words and many other personal revelations, I've decided to act like the person I want to be and slowly believe that person is already within me. So here's what I want to leave you all with. If you're in a fight right now, whether it's against addiction, shame, fear, or a version of yourself that you're so desperate to outgrow or to become, remember that someone out there already sees your strength. The question is, when will you start seeing it too?
Wow. What a human story. The strength to overcome, to be human, to grow. It's amazing. I really love that speech. Thank you very much for speaking. At this time, I'd like to bring up our second speaker, is Celine. Celine is speaking in our icebreaker speech. It'll be her first speech. Everybody, give her a warm round of applause.
Okay, we're bringing this back because it's my icebreaker. All right. Well, hi everyone. My name is Celine, and I'm a perfectionist. Whew, that felt good to get off my chest. Being a perfectionist is what has led me here today in front of all of you to pursue something that I am not perfect at, which is public speaking. I am actually here to pursue failing, and it's insane to me that we did not coordinate on today's theme because failing has come up about 5 times already today. And I want to get into a little bit more about why I'm pursuing failing, but before I do all of that, let me introduce myself, because this is my icebreaker after all. So I am originally from Florida. I'm almost born and bred. I'm not quite born here. I'm originally from Berlin, and my family and I moved here from Germany when I was 5 years old. So I grew up in the Clearwater area. I spent a lot of my childhood traveling with my family. We traveled the US, we traveled the world, and I feel really lucky that I'm able to continue traveling in my adult life. I travel quite a bit for work and leisure, and it's honestly one of my greatest pleasures in life. I think all of these little pleasures that we experience really form our overall experience in life and bring joy to our everyday. Some of my other simple pleasures include my morning iced coffee that I sometimes go to bed excited for the next morning. Along with that, my afternoon iced matcha and those rare few days or sometimes even weeks in Florida where the weather drops below 75 degrees, which is today. But let me get back into failing. So failing is obviously a very negative, daunting thing. None of us want to fail. We don't want to fall flat on our face, especially not me, a recovering or attempting to recover perfectionist. And I think it's safe to say public speaking is a very easy thing to fail at, right? You can forget your words, you can forget where you were going with a train of thought or what you were trying to say. You can make eye contact with someone in the audience for too long and then feel awkward about it and then break eye contact, and your brain kind of gets stuck on all these little things. And to me, all of those little things are failures. My brain gets stuck on all of them and starts tearing me down. And so this is me trying to be easier on myself. I don't want to get so hung up on the little things that stop me from actually getting better at something that I'm not perfect at. So I have spent a bit of time doing speaking. I speak at work, at conferences, or on calls. I present on certain topics. I also grew up on stage. I grew up singing and dancing. I was in orchestra, I was in chorus. Definitely didn't go the athletic route. I tried track and field and fell flat on my face during my first meet, so I stuck with the arts. But in all of those different speaking engagements, I'm not really talking about myself. If I'm at work, I'm presenting about a specific topic. If I'm performing, I'm stepping into a character. But being here, talking about myself for 5 to 7 minutes feels incredibly scary and uncomfortable and really vulnerable. But I think that is even more reason for me and all of us to continue pushing ourselves to do this. In this age of hyper independence and technology and being online, I think we talked about it last meeting, but human connection and actually forming those authentic connections is what we all need more of in today's world. And so I have 3 specific goals for joining Toastmasters. One is to practice uncomfortable vulnerability. The second is to learn to trust myself. And the third is to practice failing. So I look forward to growing alongside all of you, and hopefully this will aid in my path to recovery from perfectionism, and I'm excited to be here.
Celine, we do align. On failing and on strength and on growth. I also have problems, Celine. I also have problems failing too. Every day I come up here, or every week I come up at one point and I feel like I'm gonna fail, and it's uncomfortable. An uncomfortable vulnerability, and I'm working on it too. And I think everybody here is also working on being vulnerable and being nervous on stage here. But I commend you for an excellent speech. Well done for the first time. I'd like to move on to my next growth, emotional and relationship growth. Now, as we're become grown adults, and now we have to go find our mate, and we need to be emotional about it. What comes to mind first? Empathy and listening. Can I count on you? Can you make a routine with me? Can it happen? And if it can't happen, then we cannot grow. Keyword, empathy, listening. Very important for a human being that is very empathetic, very sympathetic to everybody's needs. And a learned leader for many years working, empathy is extremely important. And some people are vulnerable and embarrassed about empathy, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not going to hurt your pride. Just get over yourself. It's important to be vulnerable. Secondly, don't control people. I mean, me as a boss, I went through that. Well, when I was younger, I used to try to control people. I used to sit there and micromanage people, and I realized through about $15,000 investing in HR how to actually not micromanage and let people fly by giving them a vision. But I didn't know this because I started a business that scaled up without my control, out of craziness, and what I realized is how not to control people. It took some time. As my growth continued, most people don't like to be micromanaged, but some people don't work at all and get lazy, and then that just annoys you. So, lastly, love, 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 and actions. Words are just things. Anybody could say words. You could say words over and over, and they promise you the mountain and 3 times, and they promise you, and they don't follow through. Goodbye, bye. It goes for men, women, whatever. Actions are very important. I like to take this time to just acknowledge that actions for me is about the most important thing in a relationship. Regardless if it was my ex-wife or my new girlfriend or my best friends or that kept for 20 years, are we still actionable? So, in order to grow, that's what we need to do. We need to grow through actions. At this time, I'd like to now bring up our table topics master, Stephen.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yes, sir.
As I said earlier, growth is kind of an ongoing process. Maturation is sort of a misnomer. No one here is going to be perfect, so we always have to be moving forward. Number 1, intellectual growth is the process of acquiring knowledge and skills, improving your ability to analyze in general. What's been your most effective method in growing intellectually? Reading a book, seminars, just hanging out with people smarter than you? Jeffrey?
What's the question?
How have you grown intellectually, or what was the most effective vehicle? Is it like reading books every day? Is it hanging out with people smarter than you are?
Thank you.
Okay.
When I was in high school, I had to do Spanish in high school. Failed that. When I went to college, I had to do Spanish in college. I failed that. When I got out of college, I met some people and they spoke Spanish. They were white and they spoke Spanish. And I said, wow, that's great. And I tried that. But I failed at that because I was, it's kind of hard to learn when you're really like into your mess, into your junk. And I was into my junk for a long time. So I kept learning "Cómo estás" over and over and over again. And it was horrible. So I stopped learning Spanish. Then I got off the sauce. And I met this Mexican guy, and he wanted to learn English. He was fresh into the country, and he wanted to learn English. So I started teaching him, and he was a great guy, so I started teaching him English. And in the process of teaching him English, I said, you know what, I'm gonna learn Spanish. So we made this thing work, and in about 3 years, I started speaking Spanish. Well, that was like 17 years ago. So one of my responsibilities at work, there's 6 of us at work there, and 3 of us don't speak any English. There's a Cuban lady, a Colombian lady, and a Dominican lady. So I'm the translator at work, and it's working out great. But here's the thing that I've learned, is that we do it, and in the process, and this was as much as I love speaking Spanish and being fluent in Spanish, what I've learned through this process of learning Spanish was I learned how to learn. And in the process of learning how to learn, I am convinced that if I set my mind to it, there's nothing that I cannot learn. Thank you.
Good job. Keep studying. Another obvious personal growth is occupational. So, what would you say is the best way to advance in your career? Is it seeking out a mentor like Tiffany did with Megan? Is it going to night school? Is it reading books? What do you think is the most effective way, at least for you?
What's going on, party people? So, I think the most effective way at growing up, you said occupation, right?
Occupation, yeah.
Okay, an occupation. So for me, I have a business, and I made some mistakes in that business that could have been avoided if I would have paid attention to people that had already made these mistakes, like mentors, right? So 5 years into my business, I grabbed a mentor, and when I grabbed the mentor, we sat down and we talked. He had been through every single thing that I had been through. And I'm like, well, I knew you 5 years ago. If I would have just listened to your direction and kind of employed you as my mentor, I could have avoided these 5 years of mistakes and been 5 years ahead of where I'm at now. So I think when you are an entrepreneur, having a mentor is definitely important. That's it.
Very good. Unfortunately, some lessons we learn them the hard way. 3. Another facet of personal growth is physical. This isn't necessarily just, go into a gym, though it can be that. It's the umbrella of self-care, shall we say. Name a habit or some aspect of your lifestyle that's an impediment to that, and how you got over it, or how you're at least keeping it at bay. Tyler.
Name an impediment to physical health.
Well, in other words,
something that inhibits my physical health.
In other words, Megan gave up vaping.
Well, I just smoked like half a pack of cigarettes this weekend, so that's probably
not
a good place to start.
No judgment.
Yeah. So the immediate place that my brain went for this one was wakeboarding, specifically injuries within wakeboarding. I think I mentioned it before, my buddy Alex here, who's with me, we're big wakeboarders. We just did a wakeboard trip, hence the cigarettes. I was up in Georgia. And Alex went through quite an injury that took him out for about a year. And in that process, I witnessed the whole thing, and I've had a little bit of survivor's guilt during that period, but it also scared me quite a bit because I was like, well, the human body is super fragile, and he was doing something that I would do anytime I hit a ramp. So with that, to combat the ever-changing risk of getting an injury, wakeboarding, I started to do a program called Knees Over Toes. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of it. It's a joint-specific flexibility program that really has gotten my flexibility to a place where people can't even believe some of the things I'm able to accomplish. I can stand on the end of a dock, get on my knees, touch the water, and stand back up again. And I can also do this.
Whoa!
Which for someone my stature is like a huge achievement, and I have Alex to thank for that. Thank you.
Knees over toes. I should look into that. Let's see. Okay.
Butt on the ground.
This one refers to mindset, self-image. Name a negative mindset that holds you back, and how you overcame it, or once again, how you're dealing with it. I can call on somebody.
Do it.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay. Name a negative mindset that limits your thought process, and how you overcame it, or how you're dealing with it.
Thomas got it. Good Thomas.
Stephen, this kind of goes back to occupational a little bit. I unfortunately had to miss the post-Toasty last week because I was traveling for work. And I had this big presentation in New York with my customer, and I brought in all these people, all these specialists to speak with my customer on my favorite topic, AI. And we had a curated program from 9 to 3:30 with a short break, speaker after speaker after speaker. We had all prepped for it. I was facilitating, and in through the door comes someone I was not expecting, who just showed up and was not part of the discussion. And I've had a history with this person a little bit. We're just sort of butting into everything and sort of not showing up invited. And here she was, and I was like, good God, what do I do with her? And So I reframed how this interaction was going to go, because my customer is going to be coming down to Tampa in December, and this individual lives in Jacksonville. And I said, great, she's going to come from Jacksonville. I'm going to give her a job. And I told my colleagues, I said, listen out for something that she can do in December with our customer. And that mindset shift really helped us be successful. And looking forward to the December meeting.
Way to turn that around. When you said reframe, I like that term. That's a good way to put it. But you thought for a minute and you tried to find a different way to deal with it. That was good. We got time for one more? Okay.
I do know Thomas spoke here, so we want the table topics, the speakers, table topics, speakers. So I know we have Stephen.
Stephen wasn't, he was the
No,
person.
I was the host.
You were the host, that's
Yeah.
right. See, that's okay.
I mean, yeah, no, don't vote.
Okay, so who else do we have? There was
We had Jeff.
Jeff.
Tyler, Thomas.
Jeff, Tyler, Thomas,
Dan.
Tyler, Thomas, and Dan.
4.
Okay. So I want to make this clear. For me, it's very important that people give feedback. So if you can give feedback to any of your speakers tonight, or if you can give, you can also rate and give to our Sergeant at Arms your vote. Just take a quick minute for everybody to rate who did the best in table topics and who did the best in the speeches, either Megan or Celine. So I just give everybody 10, 9, 8.
We also rate the evaluators.
Oh yes, we will rate the evaluators. I just would like to first talk about that, so if everybody can do that, and then we'll talk about. I do have evaluators set up. I wanted to go into my next quick topic was physical and health growth. For me, being in the Marine Corps, it ingrained in me to run every day, and seriously, for 20 some odd years, I run 3 times a week. I always do it, unless I'm on vacation, I don't do it. But there has been weird times that I've ran in foreign countries randomly and get lost on the way back. So I think as part of growth for yourself, I don't run to get strong. As you can see, I don't have big muscles, but I run to clear my head. I tell people right now, if you're scared of running, close your mouth. Breathe through your nose. You'll be surprised how amazing that is. So, I do 2 miles, I just close my mouth and breathe, and keep it going. Anybody else know what I'm talking about? It seems like, oh yes, you do, Tyler. I hope anybody else takes my advice and try to do it. It does wonders for you in the morning, after you drink your coffee. You don't even need coffee. Just do running. 10 minutes, I'm telling you, just 10 minutes. You'll feel like amazing all day long, and very little coffee. I'd like to talk about your time to rest and recover. Very important too. There's some people that go work out 17 times a week, and that's just gonna kill you. So you need to recover. You need to take nice supplements, because without doing that, you're not gonna get anywhere. And lastly, all your strength is just a subject of how clear your mind is. So, as my point, which is very, very important, I exercise to clear my head. That's the only reason I do it, and I suggest anybody else does it. At this time, I like to bring up our general evaluator. And before I say that, at the end of the general evaluation session, I hope that general evaluator will let everybody know that they get to vote on their favorite evaluator. If everybody could please participate, even our guests. I love that we have names here. Please give some people more chance to compete and get the best of the best when it comes to that. At this time, I'm going to bring up our general evaluator. Please come up.
Alrighty, so we're gonna start with Chris. You wanna give us an eval on Megan's speech?
Absolutely. So first of all, Megan, great job. One of the thoughts I had coming up here is, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this before, but Usain Bolt, when he was setting one of his records, they caught him looking at the camera as he was beating everybody in the field. I always feel like that's Megan when she's up here speaking, just like so casual, not a worry at all when she comes up here. So, you know, it was very fun to evaluate your speech. In her speech, little does she know, there were 3 things that she wanted me to pay attention to. One was how she connected with the audience. 2 was how she handled her vocal variety. And then the 3rd item was structure. So I'll start with connecting with the audience. And this is something you always do very well, but get the podium out of the way and immediately step forward and start speaking to everybody. Not in an aggressive way, like in everybody's face, but you just kind of stepped into the audience and really started to introduce yourself, get everybody engaged. Not only that, you open with a very serious topic. I don't want to use the words fear-mongering, because I know that's not what you're trying to do, but mass layoffs, you know, is a subject that really catches everybody's attention. So, you know, that you open with that, you know, really grabbed my attention. I think that was a great way to kind of start to pull everybody in. One of the things that you continued to do well was just, you know, your engagement with the audience throughout. You know, you were doing a good job looking around the room, you know, making sure that, you know, you're checking everybody out as you were going through it. Again, very natural for you to do, but, you know, that's something that I think you definitely needed called out. Getting into the vocal variety, you also do very good with your pauses, with your changes in speed with your speech. Sometimes you talk very fast, other times you're able to slow it down very well. The way that you lay out points, there was one part where you laid out stress, anxiety, overthinking, but you laid it out almost like bullet points. I could almost see it on the screen as bullet points. This, and this. It was a very good job of the way that you express that vocally. Also, your use of metaphors. This is something that I definitely think that I would like to improve on in my speaking, but when you can introduce metaphors, kind of giving somebody like an analogy to think about, to kind of connect with it. And you did that several times in your speech. The one that really stood out to me was the downward spiral of shame. So good job there. Again, overall, great job with your body language. You use your hands, you're engaging with the audience, you're kind of matching your speech with the way that you're doing it. One thing that I've noticed though with your body language is that you're very high energy when you talk, and you always carry a sort of like an edge, you know, with your speaking, and most of the time that's great. I think with this speech, especially because you were talking about fairly deep subjects, that it might have been a time to kind of soften it up a little bit. You know, either when you're talking about your associate who's confiding in you about, you know, the situation she's going through, or when you're talking about your own personal challenges, you know, soften it up a little bit, you know, get people a chance to really let it soak in before you kind of bring that energy level back up. The energy is always going to come out, so that's definitely not a challenge, but if you can slow it down and just kind of soften it up a little bit, I think that would be good. You did great connecting with the audience as you are naturally. You did great with your vocal variety. The structure, I think that you covered some great points through, and you can see the linear path that you're carrying. Maybe could be refined a little bit. I think the point that you were trying to illustrate, you ended up making like 3 points when there was really one that you were trying to center on. And I think with, you know, if there was a speech that you gave multiple times, you would probably refine that a little bit and get a little bit better structure. But again, with everything else you did so well, you know, I don't think that was a big deal. And then you know, the other thing that I thought was interesting is that, you know, you presented this as maybe you weren't as strong of a person as what you know, the person on the other side of the table was thinking. I think that you did a great job of illustrating the challenges that you've overcome and almost could have highlighted that as maybe that's why, you know, that the same things that made you strong in overcoming those challenges are the same reason why they're confiding in you in the first place, why they're going to you. So in any case, got kind of lost in the talk a little bit, but overall, very, very good speech, very well, you know, spoken. And I think that one of the things that you can definitely tell when I listen to a speaker like you is the maturization that you have in your speaking ability.
All right, Joe, evaluating Celine.
Thank you, Thomas.
Hopefully you can read my chicken scratches.
I always really enjoy hearing people's icebreakers up here. It helps kind of peel back the layers of, you know, that individual person that we're up here, and we've kind of gotten to know, you know, through routine meetings, but this is kind of the first big one of hearing them up here and really tell their story. And Celine did a really good job, because I'd argue that the icebreaker, some would say, might be the easiest speech, can also be the hardest, because you really have no guidelines to go off of. It's just, hey, introduce yourself to the club, good luck. I feel like Celine did a really nice job of taking a really cool twist on it, especially from the start when she started talking about perfection, which I think a lot of us found relatable, and it instantly kind of got our attention. I know for me personally, I was, you know, instantly engaged. She had me up there instantly of, oh man, wow, like what's coming next out of her mouth? I'm really excited to hear this. So I know that one point was connecting with the audience. I think you definitely nailed that aspect of it. Your backstory too was just really cool. I think you took a cool spin on it of then kind of going into the backstory and then coming back into it. You had a really good use too of your hands and your hands gestures up here. It was evident, especially when you said it, that you did theater back in the day. You could tell kind of just your overall posture up here. It was really good. You really were used to kind of connecting with us and using your hands and really in that aspect of things. One thing that I would challenge you on for the next one is I really loved how you talked about those goals, but then you kind of went away from them. I think that that would be a cool thing to maybe expand on for the next one, or even maybe look at your structure a little bit differently. You know, first one, obviously, you get up here and you're really just kind of up here talking. For the next speech, I really try to work on the structure just a touch. It was a really good job, though, overall, definitely. If you were nervous at all, you definitely had me fooled. It seemed like you were super confident up here, really owned the topic and everything that you said. Really excited to hear your next speech. And while it may not be perfect, I know it's gonna be pretty good, because if you're aiming for perfection, you know, you can always land above, I think, where most people are. So, nice job. I'm excited to hear the next one.
All right, now we're going to call up our tag team. Just to go over the evaluations again, we just heard from Joe, and we had Chris before Joe, so be sure you get your votes in. So we're gonna start with our timer, and his name is Alex.
I misspoke in the beginning. I didn't realize Celine was doing icebreaker, so I timed it at 4, 5, and 6 minutes. Said I was good with colors. Still working on numbers. Overall, we did pretty well with time tonight. Megan had her speech was 7 minutes and 1 second.
Oh, I was lost again.
No.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Celine, 4 minutes and 19 seconds. For table topics, Jeff, 1 minute 49 seconds. Dan, 43 seconds. Tyler, 1 minute 16 seconds. Thomas, 1 minute and 35 seconds. Evaluations, Chris, 5 minutes and 11 seconds. And Joe, 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Overall, good job. And
Thank you. All right, bot counter, Jordan.
So for a little bit of the sake of time, I kind of added up the ahs and whatnot into one number, just to save a little time. So, John, so far, you have 40 ahs.
Wow, 40.
Mm-hmm. You have 4 you-knows, you have 3 likes, 5 so's, 9 ands, and 11 double clutches.
Really, listen to me.
You only had 1 so. That was it. Otherwise, perfect. That was very inspirational. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Thank you.
Celine, you only had 2 so's and 6 ands. I don't know where I was looking, to be honest. Steven, you had 4 ums, 1 you know, and 2 double clutches. Jeff, you had 1 so, 1 very, very small double clutch. Very small. Dan, you had 1 2 so's, 1 and 2 double clutches. Tyler, you had 4 likes, 1 so, 1 and 1 double clutch. Thomas, 3 2 you knows, 1 so, 5 ands, and 2 double clutches. Chris, you had 3 6 you knows, 2 likes, so 3 so's, 2 ands, and 5 double clutches. Joe, you had 1 2 you knows, and 1 end. Thus ending that.
Thank you, George, for your detailed report. And Marcus, you want to give us Marion's view on the evening?
Great evening so far tonight. There were a lot of words, phrases that were said. I'll start with Jonathan. I do like how Jonathan came out and said, in the interest of time, I'm going to speed things up as I am impatient. I thought that was very catchy. And then I also love the word love, 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 love. How you repeated that a bunch of times. It's always good to hear it. And I have to resent one thing else you said. I have to resent it. You don't need coffee. I resent that. Because I sell coffee. I sell coffee. I'm in the coffee business.
It is impossible for me to drink coffee.
Okay.
I have to drink coffee.
So, Chris, if you want to get better at something, study somebody who's better at it. That was profound. Megan used the phrase anxiety inducing. I like that, how it came out. In the middle of an internal battle, and her words planted seeds in me. I thought your phrases tonight came out very poignant, very profound. And I think the best thing you said was, I haven't vaped in 3 months. Very good. Mm-hmm. Jordan, you said, I'm going to be completely transparent. It's my least favorite role. I love that honesty. He's probably the most honest person in the room. Celine, I like how you came out. I am a perfectionist. I am pursuing failing. I love that. That's something you don't hear people say every day. What stood out to me the most about you, you came up and you released that pressure valve when we said, it's finally off my chest. I thought that was great for people to hear that. Stephen, you used the word of the day once. You also said, and I do like, I don't know if it was real because I'm not Spanish speaking, but you spoke some Spanish. And I thought that was...
I told him to keep studying.
That was cool. So I had to point that out. That was very cool of you to do that. Jeff, I kept failing. And you also said, I kept failing, you said, when you're into your junk. That just kind of popped out at me. And I learned how to learn. Great. Dan, you said having a mentor is definitely important. I love that. Tyler, you said I had a little bit of survivor's guilt. These are words you don't hear much when it comes to kind of like outgrowing people. People don't want to hear that you're leaving them in a way, outgrowing them. Thomas, my favorite topic, AI. I thought that was words of passion and also mind shift. That's a great phrase. And Chris, again, evaluating, you said soften it up. In my mind, I went somewhere else, so I don't want to say where, but you did use the word of the day. Great. Joe, you did say, where you at, Joe? I love how you came out with, I enjoy hearing people's icebreakers. I think those words are comforting for visitors to hear that icebreakers are good to, are supported in this room, telling stories about yourself. And that was, and then, hold on, who else? Chris, you used the word of the day once, so I only heard the word of the day twice. If I missed anybody, sorry. Other people, if you do, get your votes in. Remember, it's evaluator, speaker, and table topics, and you can do that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. Overall, great meeting. Really focused on a few themes tonight: growth, living consciously, aspiring to maturation, overcoming addiction, imposter syndrome, practice failing. And then we talked, we had a number of speeches about growing intellectually, occupational knowledge growth, physical, negative thinking, and then just to kind of sum it all up with our evaluation, some constructive criticism over tonight's speeches and just the meeting overall. I think we have an opportunity to continue kind of refining our meeting to make sure it's kind of zips along and everybody gets a chance to speak. Two things that I did want to also note is the AW counter and the grammarian have to listen so incredibly intently. It's a really good exercise. Those of you that work in sales or anything where you have to listen really intently, it's really good practice. So encourage everyone to give that a shot. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to our Toastmaster to close the subject.
So, I really loved this meeting. This was one of the better meetings. Maybe it's just because of the huge amount of people that came in here today. I'm very happy to hear that. I'm working on my spaces. I'm going to try, for myself personally, to make pauses instead of ums. So I really appreciate the counter for letting me know everything that I'm trying to improve. Upon growth, I like to say in all aspects of life, growth, for me, first off, that's not even on here, is about communication. Okay, so for one quick thing about everybody, if you want to communicate with somebody else and you're not sure what to say, listen to their sentence. Maybe they said, I'm going to the store. All you have to do, if you're nervous, you don't know what to say, just repeat one word of what they said in a new line of questioning. So if they say, I'm going to the store, you say, oh, what store are you going to? If you're nervous, just look for one word and repeat it. So that's one big thing that I learned to help me grow in communication. It's a daily decision, as you know. Everybody can grow. Everybody understands that if the direction is straight and they keep on going in the direction that they're meant to be, they will grow. If it's Sunday and they're lazy, that's fine. You can be lazy, but you gotta mix it up a little bit, but pushing yourself to grow is wonderful. And lastly, you can be who you want to be. Everybody can be. And in fact, here, in this group here, are the most confident people I know. I'm telling you right now, everybody that goes in this room and comes up here and faces their fear is amazing. You're so much better than, you're like the 5% of the people in Tampa St. Pete, and the other 95% of the people are not doing as well. I really appreciate this group, and I have nothing but spreading love to everybody here. I would also like to end with how wonderful everybody here, and I'd like to ask all the guests here. Any guest can tell me what they thought. You're your first time guest here today?
Yes.
Can you please tell me what you thought of the meeting overall?
No, I thought it was very positive, and it's not like one person was up there more than, it was kind of even split for everyone. I haven't been to a lot of speaking courses or interactions like this, so I kind of went in with an empty mind, and I don't have a lot to compare it to, but it seems very positive and a chance to grow.
Gonna hope to see you next week. This is wonderful. And you're also first time?
Yes, I am.
What's your name again? I'm sorry?
Sharon.
Sharon. So what'd you think tonight?
I think it was a good topic and well explained by most of the speakers. So I think I will be interested in hearing more. It was really good.
That's wonderful. And everybody else here has been here before.
No, we haven't.
One more. One more. Oh yes. Hi, straight in front of me. I've been looking at you all night. And
I think it was personable, and the speakers were excellent. I like how they brought out their story, and the fact that it's a no judgment zone, where you're able to express yourself.
You're able to fail. Everybody
Yes,
knows
and
that.
you're allowed.
It's beautiful. It's very beautiful words, and it's wonderful. I'd like to finally find out here if everybody has cast their votes, and if we're going to have winners of the evening, or is that just the president's job? I'm not sure. Okay, you can close out. So, I'd like to bring...
That's a good idea.
Yeah, sorry, that sounds like a good idea. Everyone wants to go home, right? Are we 8:05? Oh.
It's 8:20.
Yeah,
Marcus.
I like to talk, sorry. Yeah. So, Marcus, our president, I'll relinquish back the authority, and it was a very good meeting tonight. Thank you.
In the interest of time, using your own words, I'm going to definitely push this meeting to a close.